If you would, please, take a big, deep breath in and breathe out. How big a check would you write for that? Priceless. Do you remember back in the days, you might have had one of these, an answering machine. You remember answer machines? Remember we used to have land phones, now we have on our cell phones. But you think back, what was the purpose of the answering machine? Really two things. Number one is to tell who you were and what you wanted. Who are you and what do you want? And you think about it. The majority of people in life never answer those two questions. The average 4-year-old laughs or smiles up to 400 times a day. It's 400 times a day. I mean, how many of you have kids? How many ever seen a kid? You see, they get it. They get it. They know who they are. They're living the here and the now. They're enjoying the only thing we ever have, and that's the present. Because the reality is, yesterday is a canceled check, and tomorrow is a promissory note.
Matt Jones went from being a 3-time cancer conqueror to relearning how to walk, to running 6 marathons on 6 continents, and now is training for his 7th one in Antarctica. Okay. On September 11th, 2002, Matt's life changed when he was diagnosed with cancer. After spreading to the fluid to his brain, doctors did not think he would live. Miraculously, he recovered and today shares his life-inspiring story with audiences around the country. He also happens to live in our own backyard, which we're really delighted to find out. Wayne Dyer called Matt his hero, and Dr. Catherine Ponder said he has a transformational message that is life-changing. Matt is high energy and has an enthusiastic spirit, which you will discover, and a laugh that is contagious, which you will hear more of in the workshop. And he has shared these with New Thought churches and communities around the country. From his miraculous and inspiring story of healing, you will learn the 3 causes in creating your brightest future. You'll get the inspiration at the service today, and you'll get the meat in the workshop. So please join me in welcoming Matt Jones.
And if you would, please, let's just give a heart-warm, big round of applause for Dr. Petrie, for Reverend Karen, for the musicians, the ushers, and just everybody in this room. So big round of applause. And if you're excited about life, if you're excited about creating your brightest future, let me hear you make some noise. Oh. Whew. And know this, you are in the right place at the right time for the right stuff. Wow. And if you would, please, shake someone's hand, your left, your right, look them in the eye, and just say, victory. And you think about it, every single day that you wake up, that's a victory. This past April marked my 11th year anniversary of a successful bone marrow transplant. And if you would, please, take a big, deep breath in and breathe out. How big a check would you write for that? Priceless. You see, every single day that you wake up, every breath in, every breath out, that's a victory. That right there is your brightest future. And it's such an honor to be here, but not just an honor, but very humbled. Because I realize that each one of you have a special story. Each one of you have lessons you've learned and wisdoms that you could share. And it's so honored to be here to share a part of my story. But in all reality, it's also your story. As Ernest Holmes says, and I love this, he said, if someone else has done it, you can do it. Please repeat after me. It's possible. It's possible. You see, the fact that I'm standing here, At one point, doctors said I wouldn't live. Cancer spreading the fluid in my brain, having to relearn how to walk, being blessed now, back in training for my 7th marathon in Antarctica, is proof that whatever life that you want to create, it's possible. Because here's what I know and what you know. You see, just like I am part of this healing process of the divine, so are you. Because you and I are one. We're connected. It's just like, I love going to the beach. And I remember a couple of weeks ago, I was at the beach in California. I'm walking along the beach, and you come across the grain of sand. And you pick up that grain of sand, but what truth do we know about that grain of sand? It's part of the whole beach. Just like the drop of water is part of the whole ocean. Just like you are part of the whole universe. Abundant, endless, prosperous. Our short time together, I want to share with you 3 causes that you can use to create your brightest future ever. But before we get there, I want to share something with you. Do you remember back in the days, you might have had one of these, an answering machine? You remember answering machines? Remember we used to have land phones, now we have on our cell phones? But you think back, what was the purpose of the answering machine? Really 2 things. Number 1 is to tell who you were and what you wanted. Who are you and what do you want? And you think about it. The majority of people in life never answer those 2 questions. And so I ask you, who are you? I ask you this, what do you want with this one life to live? Where the great news is you're the creator. What do you want to have? What do you want to be? What do you want to do? 3 causes in creating your brightest future. And the first cause is visualize your victory. Visualize your victory. Now, this is fascinating. Social psychologists have found by changing your body, you can change your life. By changing your body, you can change your life. And they found that one of the most empowering victory poses, body language to use, is the victory pose. So what I like to do when I say visualize if everybody would go victory, would be my whole highlight this morning. Sound good or sound good? All right, you ready for this? Here we go. Visualize your victory. Doesn't that feel great? You wake up in the morning, victory. I check out at the grocery store. That's a victory, right? Because here's what I learned. What you focus on expands. That's good stuff there, right? Because the majority of people, what do they focus on? What they don't want. And that's all they can see. It's kind of like this. I have an example. I used to live in California, originally from Kansas. Now I live right around the corner in the great state of Texas. When I lived in California, they had these race car driving schools. I'm just curious, anybody into race cars like Formula One or NASCAR? Any fans? Okay, we have 2 people. Let me think of another example. I just got to share this. This is like my personal secret to success. You've got to laugh. Just to laugh and smile. I shared this in the first service. I want to share it again because it's so powerful. But I was checking out the grocery store one day, and I came across this magazine, Good Housekeeping. I typically don't read it, but for some reason, I'm thumbing through it, and I come across this article. And the article said something I'll never forget. It said, the average 4-year-old laughs or smiles up to 400 times a day. It's 400 times a day. I mean, how many of you have kids? Have you ever seen a kid? You see, they get it. They get it. They know who they are. They're living the here and the now. They're enjoying the only thing we ever have, and that's the present. Because the reality is, yesterday is a canceled check, and tomorrow is a promissory note. And all we have is the present. Now, what was so sad about the same study showed that by the time they reach the age of 30, that number drops to 15. Think about that. Because so many people are focused on what they don't want. See, what they teach you in this race car driving school is they teach you when you spin out of control, because in life sometimes we spin out of control. And that's okay. Because many times when we spin out of control, it allows us to regain control. Think about that. And they teach you when you spin out of control, you don't focus on the wall, You focus where you want to go on the track. Because where you place your energy, where you place your focus is where you end up. You see, the first cause in creating your brightest future, you've got to visualize your victory. Average 4-year-old laughs up to 400 times a day. By the time they reach the age of 30, drops to 15. And I believe this. See, the second cause in creating your brightest future, if you would please repeat after me, take action.
Take action.
Now, to help us remember take action, if everybody would go A for action, once again, my whole highlight coming here. So, A for action. See, I like this. See, in religious science, they teach us you got to treat and move your feet. The Quaker said, pray and move your feet. And it's so true. So true. Now, I used to live in Austin. How many of you have ever been to Austin? Yeah, Austin, Texas. Now, you know Austin, what's their motto? Keep Austin weird, right? You got to love it. You got to love Austin, right? Now, one of the things Austin's known for, how many of you have ever seen the bats on Congress Street? The bats. Yeah, Austin is known, it has the largest bat population in the United States. Fascinating. So you ever get a chance, especially in the summer months, go down to Austin on Congress Street, and it's just like, does anyone know how many bats fly out? It's like 1 million or something. It's crazy, but the good benefit is so there's less mosquitoes in Austin, Texas. Yeah, so that's a good thing. Now, I want to share something with you. There's these 3 bats. They're hanging out on the Congress Bridge. One of them decides to fly away. How many are left? 3. Why would you say 3? Difference between deciding and taking action. You see, I want to encourage you. See, you learned so many awesome things here, but here's the key. You got to take action. And I learned something so important I'm going to share with you. Is when I was going through my experience, it happens one step. Let me clarify. No, I don't think so. One thought at a time. Because as you know, as you think, so you are. Average 4-year-old laughs up to 400 times a day. By the time they turn the age 30, less than 15. So what I like to do, I like us to take action. If you would, please, turn to someone your left, your right, look them in the eye, give them the biggest, cheesiest, show them all the teeth smile that you have. Folks, right there, that's your brightest future. See, one of the things I want to encourage you, you go out to the world, you go out here, you go out to eat, you go out to all the places you go, just give somebody a smile. I want to share with you the difference a smile made in my life. You see, when I was going through that bone marrow transplant, they have to wipe out your immune system. Now, for me, because I was diagnosed with leukemia, I spread the fluid in my brain, and I had to go through full body radiation, high doses of chemotherapy. And I remember laying in my hospital bed, 25 years young, and I was about ready to give up. I didn't have anything left in me. I had so much pain. I couldn't eat food, and I wanted to quit. I remember saying, why me? Life's not fair. You see, I stopped looking where I wanted to go. I was focused on the wall. I'll never forget Nurse Margot. Because every day Nurse Margot walked through my hospital door, she had a smile. And that smile gave me the strength. It allowed me to find the heart of my lion. It allowed me to continue on. Allowed me to visualize my victory. I encourage you. You see, I believe this. There's somebody destined that needs a smile from you. And I believe this. You're going to give somebody a smile this week, and it's going to help them create their brightest future. And that's ultimately what life's about. If you would, please, take a look on the inside of your index finger. Look on the inside of your index finger. And you look on the inside of your index finger, on there, we call that your what? Your fingerprint. And just like you have a unique and special fingerprint, you have a unique and special purpose. See, the first cause of creating your brightest future, you've got to visualize your victory. There's a timeless truth that says where there's no vision, the people perish. And the question I ask, what do you want? And secondly, you visualize your victory, you've got to take action. See, I like what James' brother Jesus said. He said, don't just be a hearer of the word, but you've got to be a doer of the word. Because once again, see, here's the thing. To know and not to do is not to know. Let me share that again. To know and not to do is not to know. See, I was diagnosed with cancer September 11th, 2002. After going in remission, my doctor said, Matt, 80% chance the cancer will never come back. I was like, victory! I mean, I was so excited. I used to drive around my hometown of Emporia, Kansas, windows rolled down, blasting my favorite theme song, Eye of the Tiger by Rocky. Then it came back. You see, the one thing that you and I have in common, we all go through some stuff. We all go through some challenges. But personally, I don't like that word challenge. I like to call them character-building experiences. Because so often, character is forged through the fires of adversity. You see, I like to call it, see, here's the thing. You all are going to go through some healing, not challenges, healing adventures. And I want you to do something very powerful, very important. You've got to be careful of the words you speak. There's a Jewish proverb that says there's life and death in the power of the tongue. You see, one thing I was always conscious when I went through my healing process, it was never my cancer. It was always the cancer, because I didn't want ownership of that. You see, don't take ownership of something you don't want. I see that so often, people saying stuff. Yesterday, I was checking out and getting some food, and the clerk, she messed up, and she said something, and I said, no, don't say that. She said, I'm retarded. Why would you affirm that for your life? See, cancel, cancel, cancel. You see, you are a child of the Most High. You have this divine creative intelligence within you. Anything is possible. It's possible. First cause. You got to visualize your. Second cause, you got to take. Action. And the third cause, if you would please, take your index finger, point to your head, and say, elevate your attitude. Elevate your attitude. One of my favorite quotes, Charles Swindoll, the single most significant decision you can make on a day-to-day basis is your choice of attitude. It's not about our circumstances, it's about our choices. One of my favorite books of all time, I'm just curious, has anyone read the book Man's Search for Meaning by Dr. Viktor Frankl? Powerful book. This is like on my Mount Rushmore of books. I highly recommend you get this book, Dr. Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning. For those of you not read it, he was a Jewish psychiatrist placed in a Nazi concentration camp. And he lost his whole family. But in there, he said something so profound, something I'll never forget. He said, everything can be taken from you except one thing, the last of your freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances. It's a choice. When that person cuts you off in traffic, it's a choice. You know, we wake up in the morning, we're just like one of those days, it's a choice. And that's what's so great about this teaching here, knowing that we are responsible for our lives. The good, the better, and the best. I want to share something. Zig Ziglar. Any Zig Ziglar fans? Oh, I love Zig Ziglar, right? He's from Dallas and great motivational speaker. And he said something profound. He said, you know that little clock you have in your room that makes that really nice music or noise in the morning? Wakes us up. We call that what? Now, does anybody get warm fuzzies with the word alarm? Right? You ever been driving around, you see the flashing red and blue lights in the rearview mirror, then like passes you, it's like, victory! Hey, we keep it real up in here now. Oh, man. Yeah, right? This is life-changing now. Remember, there's life and death in the power of the words. Zig Ziglar says instead of calling it an alarm clock, call it an opportunity clock. Think about it, because every day it goes off, opportunity that you're alive. Opportunity to make a difference. And whether it's an alarm clock or an opportunity clock, that's your choice. I'll give you another one I say. I don't believe in bills. There's no such thing as bills. They're blessings. I mean, how many agree AC is a blessing this hot summer weather? That's a blessing. What you focus on is what you get back. T. Harv Eker, where your attention goes, your energy flows, your results show. You see, I don't get excited over a bill. But when I say this is a blessing, then I think of the blessing, the fact that I have this nice cold house and air conditioning feels, that gets me excited. That allows me to send out the energy to bring more blessings in my life. 3 causes. You got to visualize your. You got to take. You got to elevate your attitude. So the cancer came back, and the doctor said, Matt, you need a bone marrow transplant. Started searching for a donor, and got back in remission a second time. It was January 2004, still waiting for a donor. And I started having these just massive headaches. It felt like a 18-wheeler was parked on top of my head. I knew something wasn't right, and I was referred to this hospital and this doctor. I was finally referred to Kansas University Medical Center, downtown Kansas City, Kansas. And I'll never forget that Monday morning. It was cold and dreary outside. I'm sitting in the hospital bed, waiting for the test results. I hear a knock. And into my room walks Dr. Doom. Now, this is the type of person that brightens the whole room as soon as they leave. I'm talking about someone, they're so negative, they walk into a dark room, they begin to develop. I go use that one a couple more years. I like that. We're trying to get 400 laughs in this morning, right? I like to call them energy vampires because they will suck the energy right out of you. One of my favorite personal development quotes, Charlie Tremendous Jones said this: "You'll be the same person you are today 5 years from now, except for two things: the people you meet and the books you read." The people you meet and the books you read. You see, this is why this community is so important, because you're around like-minded people who are going to help you in your growth, who are going to help you in this adventure. So important. She walked to my hospital door, walked over to my bed, and she pulled up a chair. "Matt, the cancer's come back, and it's spread to the fluid in your brain." Now, because of my positive attitude, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I'm going to need a brain transplant. I'm still looking for a donor. Without hesitation, you have a less than 10% chance of living to age 30. She got up and she walked out. But you know what? In hindsight, that was a good thing. I didn't need her in my life. You see, here's the reality. Some of you, in order to get healthy, in order to get clear, in order to live your brightest future, you've got to get rid of some Dr. Dooms. And it's tough sometimes. Sometimes they're family members. And all they can see is the negativity. And they're holding you back. You see, that third and final choice, you've got to elevate your attitude. You see, the feelings you feel, the thoughts you think, and the words you speak determine the life you live. Now, what happened was, because the cancer came back, spread the fluid in my brain, they put a special device in my head called an Ommaya reservoir. And basically, it's a port to administer the chemotherapy because of the blood-brain barrier. Well, it got infected because my body said, I don't want that stuff in my head. And anyways, long story short, now I have this indention in my head. So, because you all have been such a great audience, after the service, for $5, you can feel the dent. That goes to charity-o. Oh, man. I just like to have a sense of humor. Sometimes for fun, I just walk around the airport smiling at people. Oh, man. Oh, man. Matt, behave yourself. The feelings you feel, the thoughts you think, and the words you speak. See, what happened was this became infected. When my kidneys began to fail, temperature rose to over 104 degrees. Valentine's Day 2004, I slept in an unconscious state. 2 o'clock in the morning, guess who comes into my hospital room? Dr. Doom. And she walks over to my hospital bed. She assesses my condition. And she walks out to the nurse's station. And she tells them, you need to call Matt's family and friends. He's not going to make it. But I want to share something with you powerful. And here's what you know. And here's what I knew that Dr. Doom didn't know. You see, Paul writes that we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but what is unseen. For what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal. See, she didn't realize the healing power that's within me, that's within you. And against all odds, and miraculously, I came out of that. And from that experience, I was in this unconscious state. I remember waking up, and I thought I was in a totally different hospital. I didn't know where I was. I remember my thoughts were jumbled. I couldn't even read a paragraph. I couldn't even tie my shoes. You see, I come here today as a testimony of what's possible in your life. The fact that I'm standing here means it's possible for you. The fact that I'm getting ready to run my 7th marathon on my 7th continent, which I truly believe is partly due to the brain damage. I'm just saying. But that's possible. That's what's possible for you. If Ernest Holmes said, if someone else can do it, you can do it. Folks, I couldn't read one paragraph. And I've been blessed just recently to write this book. And I show this right here as proof that's possible within you. You see, in some of you, there's a book inside of you. There's a business to start. There's a volunteer. There's a charity to start. See, this is proof of what's possible in your life. When you make the choice to visualize your victory. Make the choice to take action. Make the choice to elevate attitude. And I'll never forget it. I had this vision. I wanted to run a marathon. I remember coming down the final stretch. I had gone 26 miles. I remember thinking to myself, I never realized how far 0.2 miles could be. And the spectators, they're cheering, you can do it, you're almost there, no problem, piece of cake. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, easy for you to say, you've all been sitting in those bleachers all day. And folks, there I was, and I crossed the finish line. Victory, victory, victory. And they came, they hung a medal around me, and even though I got, well, it was like 18,159th. I pretended like that was the Olympic gold medal. And I had this girlfriend at the time, and she ran up to me, we embraced, and she looked up to me, she said, Matt, an 83-year-old man beat you. I was like, really? I didn't see you out there. By the way, she's no longer my girlfriend. But we send her love and blessings. And the greatest... You all are so great. Isn't it just so awesome to be able to laugh? The gift of laughter. You know the best thing about laughter and smiling? It's contagious and it's free. Pretty awesome. The greatest finish line I crossed was Mother's Day 2004. When I walked out of the hospital, successful bone marrow transplant, and I've been in remission ever since. I'll never forget that day. The doctor came in and said, Matt, you get to go home. And I picked up the telephone in the hospital room, and I called my mom. And I said, Mom, happy Mother's Day. I get to go home. And she said, Matt, that was the greatest Mother's Day gift ever. You see, the fact I'm here today is possible for you to overcome any adventure, health adventure, life adventure. It's possible. We're about ready to wrap this up with a big grand finale. Before I do, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for allowing me to come here and share part of my story. So once again, I realize each and every one of you have a story. And it's such an honor. And so before we go any further, please give yourself just a big round of applause for that. Thank you so much. You know, one thing, people always come up to me and say, Matt, what was that one quote you shared? So I got smart, and I created these things I call victory cards. So what it is 4 quotes on the front and 4 quotes on the back. So after the service, if you like to, there's going to be a table over in the fellowship hall, and feel free to pick one up. And I tell people, you know, a lot of times they'll put on their computer at work, and that way they can start their day visualizing their victory. Then also, you know, I had a Monday I would want no one to ever go through. But I realized something. Do you realize how many people experience manic Mondays? I mean, they made a song out of it. You know, this is crazy. Do you know the most heart attacks occur from 7 to 9 a.m. Monday morning? People do whatever they can to get out going to work. So I'm on a mission to turn manic Mondays into magnificent Mondays. So what I created was a free Monday Victory email where I send out a quote every Monday designed to fire up, pump up, and inspire. And so if you'd like to be a part of this whole movement and together turn manic Mondays into magnificent Mondays, when you go out there and get your free victory card, just put your name and your email, and I'll sign you up, and every Monday, get that quote, get fired up, pumped up, inspired. Sound good or sound good? All right, so now my favorite part, We're going to celebrate your victory, your brightest future. So what we're going to do is we're going to cross the finish line together. And we cross that finish line together. All together, we're going to go victory, victory, victory 3 times, make lots of noise, like twice the amount we made earlier, and give at least 2 people a big high five. Y'all ready for this? So if you're able to, if you would like to, please stand up. Get your running shoes on. Here we go. We've gone 26.1 miles. We're coming down the final stretch. And here we go. We crossed the finish line all together. Victory, victory, victory. Los Angeles. If you would, please give someone a big high five. If you can see it, believe it's possible, you can do it.
Woo! Yay, beautiful. Oh, so just inviting you to take that in. The victory of the divine, the joy of life, the laughter of love, feeling it radiate through your body and allowing it to just percolate. Let's let it percolate there. And sometimes it's so lovely not to just to distribute it, but to now gather it in. I just invite you to gather it in. And as we go within together, breathing together, we breathe into that connection. We breathe into that profound sense that there is a power and a presence for good in the universe. It is the very lifeblood that beats in our hearts, that blooms in the rose, ripples on the pond, waves in the wind. It is the laugh of that child, the smile of a beloved, the joy of accomplishment. This is life, our life, your life, my life, the one life living in, through, and as each of us. That life, the same life, the life of all beings everywhere. And as we simply allow this to percolate in our consciousness, to filter into the very cells and molecules of our being, to wrap itself right into our DNA, this awareness, this consciousness. You see, in that moment, we've discovered reality. And from that reality, we move out into our lives. This morning, I affirm and declare for each one of us, I claim that best and brightest future. That very truth of life is not only wrapped in our DNA, it is now seeking to pour itself in, through, and as us. As the dream that we have, the contribution we want to make, the healing we claim. So we simply allow ourselves to rest in this profound moment of recognition. If it is possible for one, then it is possible for all. We claim that possibility at every level of healing. Internal, individual, community-wide, collectively, planetary-wide. We claim that healing. We claim that healing on the level of the physical, of our bodies, of our environment, of our beautiful planet. We claim that healing at the level of our emotions and our minds, at the level of our media, at the level of all the conversations that are happening all over the planet. We claim that healing, that alignment, that awareness at the level of the oneness that we share, the spiritual truth that there is only one thing happening here, and it is the divine, the presence of love making itself known in the world. Knowing this truth, we are so blessed in every possible way. We allow that blessing to rest right here right now. And so it is.